I am Stephanie Thompson, and this is my demonstrative speech, and my audience is behind me, asleep on the couch. Okay, so I'll begin. So COVID-19 is one of the most prevalent things on our minds right now in the world. There's a vaccine being distributed, and many people are unsure about receiving it. So I wanted to talk today about how a vaccine works in your body. Exactly how does it produce immunity? A few of the things we'll touch on is how does your body fight a virus or bacteria to begin with? And then how does the body take a vaccine and turn it into immunity? Also, we'll talk about there are different types of vaccines and how each one has a different method to introduce a pathogen into your body so immunity can be created. So first things first, the way we get sick is by germs entering our body. These germs can be viruses or bacteria, and after they enter the body, they attack our cells and multiply. Our blood contains red blood cells for carrying oxygen and white blood cells that fight infection. The white blood cells are made up of macrophages, B lymphocytes, and T lymphocytes. The macrophages attack and digest germs and also dead or dying cells. After they digest these cells and germs, they leave behind small parts of the germ, which are called antigens. The B lymphocytes produce the antibodies that attack the antigens that are made by the macrophages eating all the germs. Then T lymphocytes are created by the white blood cells, which attack the cells in our body that have been infected by the invading germ, also known as a pathogen. Now, vaccines take altered versions of the viruses or bacteria and introduce them into the body to stimulate your white blood cells to create immunity. By injecting altered versions of these pathogens, we are forcing the body to go through a process of creating those T lymphocytes and antibodies, which will then fight the pathogen without actually getting the infection to begin with and getting sick. The body remembers this process after the pathogen is fought off. And if it ever enters the body again, it can then recreate those T lymphocytes and antibodies and efficiently eliminate the pathogen before you even get sick. So the length of immunity lasts depending on how the vaccine is created. Some vaccines are created using a weakened live version of the pathogen that can make you sick. Others use a dead cells of the pathogens to stimulate the immunity process. And there are other vaccines that the scientists take proteins or carbohydrates from the pathogens and then put that in the vaccine, which will also stimulate your immunity response, creating those T lymphocytes and antibodies. There is one other kind of vaccine that is used by attaching a known pathogen to a germ that has a sugary camouflage coating on the outside. That way, when that is introduced into the body recognizes the pathogen that's attached to it and attacks it. Because without that, that sugary coating would make it so the body doesn't recognize it as a danger. So because of these different types of vaccines, immunity responses can be lower, so that you need a second dose to boost another round of immunity and produce enough antibodies to fight off any pathogens that are then entering the body naturally, or immunity won't last as long because of the way it's created, so then we need boosters later on down the road. And then some vaccines, like the flu vaccine, are created with strands of each virus that they predict will be out there throughout the year, because the virus mutates and causes different strands. So they vaccinate for the strands that they believe will be most prevalent that year. Um, so to put it simply, when a germ enters the body, the white blood cells go into action and create T lymphocytes and antibodies to fight it. So vaccines are used to stimulate this process with altered versions of these pathogens in order to create an immunity response without making you sick. So depending on how the vaccine is created, more than one shot may be needed to be given along with possible boosters down the road for other um, illnesses. My goal today was just to explain how a vaccine works in your body and create an immunity for fighting diseases. Um, with what's going on in the world, I'm hoping that we can all better understand how a vaccine works in your body and be able to make educated decisions about receiving vaccinations. And that's it. Thank you very much. Have a great night.